In this video, I will show you how to find the slope-intercept equation of a line given a variety of information. First, you have to understand that the slope-intercept form of a line is y equals, hold on, let me use a finer point here. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So I'll refer back to this throughout the problem. I like to organize my work in the following way. I like to make a chart like this, and in the first column I always do the slope, which is called m, and then in the second column I do the y-intercept, which is called b, and in the third column I write the equation, which is the final answer. Please understand that the equation, when I use this y equals mx plus b, I think of it this way. Y equals something times x plus something. So I'm just trying to fill in the first box and the second box. The first box will be the slope, and the second box will be the y-intercept. So let's start with the slope. When you are given coordinates like this, you can find the slope by doing y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, this is how you find the slope. So that's what I'm about to do right now. So y minus y. So I'm going to do 3 minus negative 5. Okay, that's y minus y over x minus x, so negative 5 minus 0. Negative 5 minus 0. Hopefully you understand that when you have minus a negative, that immediately becomes addition. So this is really going to be 3 plus 5, which is why I'm going to have 8 over negative 5. All right, negative 5 minus 0 is just negative 5. So we have found the slope, m. All right, we have the slope. And we can go ahead and fill that in right here. So the slope is negative 8/5. All right, now it's time to find the y-intercept b. To find the y-intercept b, we will use the model itself. We will use y equals mx plus b because we're looking for b. So if we can substitute a y and m and an x, all that we'll leave is b. So we're going to pick one of these 2 points to use. I'm going to pick the first point, and so I have an x and a y. So starting with y equals, I'm going to put in the negative 5. So that's going to give me negative 5 is equal to, and then now comes m. Well, that's what we just found. Okay, m was negative 8/5. And then comes x, which is 0, plus b. Okay, well, this is going to make 0. Anything times 0 is just 0. So this is going to make negative 5 is equal to 0 plus b, which means that negative 5 is equal to b. All right, so we have the b value. So the y-intercept is negative 5, which means that the final answer is y equals negative 8/5 x minus 5. Notice I don't put plus negative 5, I just put minus 5. So this is the final answer. All right, problem number 2 is pretty much the same thing. So once again, I'm going to set up my chart, and I will find the slope, m, and then I will find the y-intercept, b, and that will enable me to write the equation. And I know that the equation always goes like this. Y is equal to something x plus something, where the first box is the slope, boom, and the second box is the y-intercept. which I will find right here. So as I discussed on the previous problem, the slope is going to be found by doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's what I'm going to use to find the slope right now. Okay, so that means that the slope is going to equal, okay, so y2 minus y1, so that's going to be 2 minus 4 over negative 3 minus 0. So that's going to give us negative 2 over negative 3, which means that the slope is positive 2/3. Negative divided by a negative is a positive, so don't leave it as negative 2 over negative 3. Put positive 2 over 3. So that's the slope. And we can go ahead and fill that in. So 2/3 goes right here. Now it's time to find the y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we use the model itself, y equals mx plus b. We're looking for b, so we will substitute in y, m, and x. To get x and y, we can pick either one of these points. I choose the first one, so that's going to give me an x and a y, 0 and 4. So the equation starts off y equals, so I'm going to start off with 4 equals. And then comes m, that's the slope, which is 2/3. And then comes x, which is 0. Okay, and then plus b. Well, 0 times anything is 0. All right, which kind of makes me a little bit mad because, all right, we had the 0 thing on the last problem. So I kind of wish that this had been more of a normal problem, so students could get practice with it, but oh well, I did not write this worksheet. So that's going to give me 4 is equal to b. So now we have the y-intercept, which is 4. So we can go ahead and put that right here. So the final answer is y is equal to 2/3 x plus 4. Or you know what, maybe I should have just used the other point. But of course you're going to want to use the one with the smaller numbers, make your life easier, but oh well. Anyway, this is the final answer. For problem number 3, we're given a point, but instead of being given another point, we're given a parallel line. And we're supposed to write the equation of the line that goes through this point and that's parallel to this line. So my basic strategy is still going to be the same. I'm going to organize my work into a chart like I always do. So first I'm going to find the slope m, and then I will find the y-intercept b, and then I will write the equation. By now you know that the equation always works like this. Y is equal to something times x plus something, where the first box is the slope and the second box is the y-intercept. So let's start by finding the slope. So this time we won't do y minus y over x minus x because we don't have 2 points. So how am I going to get the slope? We can use the parallel line to find the slope. What is the slope of this parallel line? Okay, hopefully you're looking at this right here. This is the slope of this parallel line. Please understand that the negative 3 on the end, we're not going to use that for anything, so please don't get distracted by that. But, so let me just record this information. So I'm going to put slope parallel, all right, to indicate the slope of a parallel line, and that is negative 7 over 2. Now, how can I use that to find the slope of the equation that I'm trying to write? Well, parallel lines have the same slope. So if a parallel line has a slope negative 7 over 2, then the slope of the line that we are interested in, it will also be negative 7 over 2. All right, parallel lines have the same slope. So I now know that my slope is going to be negative 7 over 2. And I can go ahead and put that in the box, in fact, negative 7 over 2. Now, finding the y-intercept is going to be the same as it was before. So I'm still going to use the model y equals mx plus b, where I'm trying to find this b value. So I need a y, an m, and an x. I can take the x and y from this point that is on the line. So if I start off with y equals, that means I have to start off with 3 equals. So that's why I go 3 equals. Next comes m, that is negative 7 over 2. And then comes x, which is negative 2. And then plus b, which is what I'm trying to find. Okay, now when I look at this, I think to myself, negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 7 is positive 7. So I know this is going to be 7 plus b. Now if you didn't follow my gibberish just then you're going to be a calculator person. Okay, so you can just go ahead and go negative 7 over 2. Okay, so negative 7 over 2 times negative 2. 7. But basically the 2's cancel out, and a negative times negative is positive. Anyway, so now I have this. In order to get b by itself, I need to subtract 7 from both sides. So I'm going to get negative 4 is equal to b. So now I have the b value, which goes in the second box, negative 4. So now I can write the final answer, which is y equals negative 7 over 2 x minus 4. Again, notice that I don't put plus negative 4, I just put minus 4. Problem number 4 is almost the same, except instead of a parallel line, we are given a perpendicular line. So we'll discuss what to do about that. But first, let's get our setup. So as always, I'm going to do the slope m in the first column, and then I will find the y-intercept b in the second column, and then I can write the equation, which is the final answer. The equation always goes y equals something times x plus something. The first box is the slope, and the second box is the y-intercept. First, let's find the slope. So we can get the slope from this perpendicular line. So let's start by taking note of what is the slope of this perpendicular line. All right, 5 over 2. All right, that's the slope of the perpendicular line. Please understand that the negative 2 has nothing to do with this problem. So do not try to use the negative 2 for anything. So the slope of a perpendicular line is 5 over 2. So let's record that information. So I'm going to put slope perpendicular is equal to 5 over 2. Now, how can I use that to get the slope that is the slope of the line that I'm trying to find? The actual slope of the line is going to be opposite and reciprocal to this. Okay? So maybe I should write that down. 2 words. All right? So perpendicular lines, whoops, not limes, perpendicular lines have slopes, okay, number 1, opposite, and number 2, reciprocal. Okay, reciprocal means if the perpendicular line has slope 5 over 2, then the slope we're going to use will involve 2 over 5. Okay, that's the reciprocal part. When I say opposite, I mean opposite sign. So if one line has a positive slope, then the other perpendicular line will have a negative slope. So in that way, we can come up with the slope of the line whose equation we are trying to find. Okay, now that we have the slope, we can go on and discuss the y-intercept, for which we will use the model itself, y equals mx plus b. Understanding that we're trying to find b, so we need y, m, and x. We can use the point on the line for the x and the y. So since the model starts off y equals, then I need to start off with 4 equals. Next comes m, so the slope is negative 2/5. Next comes x, which is negative 5, and then plus b. Now I'm looking at this, I see that the 5s are going to cancel each other out, so that's basically going to leave a 2 or a negative 2, but a negative times a negative is a positive, so I know it will be a positive 2. So I can see that this will be 4 is equal to 2 plus b. Alright, if you did not follow all of that that I just said, how I got the number 2, you can use a calculator. So I could just do negative 2 over 5 times negative 5. And you'll see that the answer is 2, but basically those 5s canceled each other out. Alright, moving on, we need to subtract 2 from both sides, so that's going to give me 2 is equal to b. Alright, so I forgot to write them down as I went, but the slope was negative 2/5, and the y-intercept was 2, so that means the final answer is simply y equals negative 2/5 x plus 2. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and click here in the red apple to watch the next video. Click in the green apple to subscribe, or click the yellow apple for the full playlist.